Alright, so I just got a notification from Yahoo Sports on my phone that Matthew Stafford and the Lions have agreed to look for trade partners in the coming weeks. This is huge because Matthew Stafford will no longer be in NFL hell, meaning Detroit, and today I'm going to talk about his top destinations and why I think each one is his top destination. But before I get into that, make sure you guys subscribe and like the video. All support's appreciated and helps me out a lot. For the first team I'll be talking about, it's going to be the San Francisco 49ers. They just make a lot of sense. Get Stafford on a contending team, the Lions can get a starting quarterback in return for him, and a couple picks. He'd be great with Kyle Shanahan, who'll have a coach that is actually good at his job. Rather than average at best, we'll have a dynamic playbook with great weapons around him in young Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel, and the best tight end in the league, George Kittle. Sorry, Travis Kelce. The running game is also something new for Stafford, as in his career, he's only had 11 games where someone has rushed for over 100 yards. And the committee in San Francisco will let Matthew be able to rely on them, so he doesn't have to throw as much, and the team won't be so dependent on him to win games. But when it's necessary, we know that he can come back and win a game in the fourth quarter in a tight game or in overtime, and even probably in a playoff game. I know that sounds crazy since the Lions don't go to the playoffs, but we all know Matthew Stafford's clutch. He can definitely win a playoff game if he has the right team around him. Just when you're in Detroit, it's impossible. And for the first time in his career, he'll have a great defense. He's never seen that before in Detroit. Even with the departure of Robert Saleh, one of the better defensive coordinators in the league, the 49ers defense, when healthy, is still top 5, if not better. And if you pair him, a great quarterback, with a defense like that, that's a recipe to win games. If the 49ers go out and get Stafford, then I will for sure put them near the top of my Super Bowl predictions for next season. Next, we have the New England Patriots. A little hometown bias, but any good quarterback with Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels is a recipe for success. Yes, that is Cam Newton slander, who I just found out lives like 2 miles away from me during his business trip to New England. The only issue with the Patriots is obviously the weapons. It'll probably get even worse if we have to trade our first round pick this year. Saying that though, if Stafford comes to New England, then maybe a free agent wide receiver and tight end will see the Patriots as a new home. Like Allen Robinson, hopefully, I'm praying to God. Any wide receiver in the league would want to play with a quarterback of his caliber. Being a top 10 guy, of course. I don't want to hear anyone else say otherwise. Patriots also have some of the most cap space in the league this offseason, so they can get pieces to help Stafford out. Definitely some more weapons, maybe some more pieces on defense, just to really bolster the roster. Because the Patriots can get better almost everywhere on the roster, minus the secondary. Like pass rush is very needed, O-line is not very needed, but weapons, just anyone to throw to is what the Patriots need. I can't see this going wrong, unlike my prediction about Cam Newton going to the Patriots. And if the Patriots get Stafford, they'll for sure be going to the playoffs, but I don't know if they'll be able to compete with the top teams like the Chiefs and Bills. But who knows, maybe Bill Belichick and Matthew Stafford is just a duo that is meant to be to win championships. And for the last major team I'm going to talk about, it's the Indianapolis Colts. They're the best situation for a quarterback to come into right now. Elite offensive line, elite defense, good young running back, young receivers with potential, and a great head coach in Frank Reich, along with cap space. If Stafford were to go to the Colts, A, Pat McAfee would be ecstatic, and B, they'd be potentially the Super Bowl frontrunner going to next year. Because Philip Rivers, while good, held the Colts back at times, and that really cost them during some games. What the Colts need to do is let T.Y. Hilton walk and get someone like Allen Robinson, Chris Godwin, Will Fuller if he's off of the PEDs and doesn't get hurt. So I'm basically saying not Will Fuller, or reunite him with Kenny Galladay. Zach Pascal and Michael Pittman would be great next to any true wide receiver one, as they seem to fit the roles really well. And the Colts also have a great tight end group with Mo Alley-Cox, Jack Doyle, and Trey Burton to go alongside the wide receivers. Jonathan Taylor is also one of the best young running backs in the league, and let's forget that I ever said that he wasn't before he broke out of the last quarter of last season, so having him will obviously benefit Stafford a lot. And for the final piece about the offense, he won't have to be worried about getting sacked a lot, since the Colts offensive line has Quentin Nelson on it. That's all I have to say. In all seriousness though, they have one of the best offensive lines in the league, and that will benefit any quarterback to ever exist, and that group is one of the key factors to a quarterback's success. The defense will also allow Stafford to be able to play safe and run the clock down, rather than having to try and come back in every single game he plays all year long. With a team like that around Matthew Stafford, I can't see their ceiling being anything other than the team to win the Super Bowl, and their floor being losing in the conference championship or divisional round if they get upset, but I can't see that really. There are also some wildcard teams like the Jaguars and Bears, but neither of them make sense since the Jags are drafting Trevor Lawrence number 1. Lions wouldn't trade Stafford to a division rival. I also wouldn't want to see him go to either of those two teams because his career would just continue to be wasted, rather than it going up with either of the 3 teams I just listed before. Those are really the only 3 teams I can see him fitting in well with. I mean, he's great, he could fit in well with any team, but I think those 3 teams just make the most sense. And with all that being said, guys, that is it for me. Thank you for tuning in to Fanatic Sports. Hope you all liked the video. If you did, please subscribe and hit the like button. It only takes like 2 seconds. Also, follow me on Instagram at FanaticSports25 and on Twitter at FanaticSports. But before I go, where do you think Stafford will land? Is it one of the 3 teams I just mentioned, or is it a different team? Comment who you think down below.